What's going on, YouTube? Thank you guys for being here. What's going on, Facebook? I don't know why it's so crooked. I'm going to switch it up. What's up, Facebook? Today, I have a few stories. The first one is, I think this is a misleading headline. I know you can't see it on Facebook. It's backwards, but it says, Biden goes door to door to boost shots as Delta variant sweeps U.S. That's a scary sight, thinking about Joe Biden himself going door to door. So I don't think that's true. I think they're talking about sending people. We'll listen to the clips. We'll see what they're talking about. But I just find that a funny headline. They're like, Biden can't even get to his own door, let alone to your door. So that's the good news. Is I don't think Biden himself is coming to your door, but there's a headline for everything. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit. Second thing I want to talk about is Trump files a class action lawsuit against social media. We'll talk about that. And also shout out to Fleckas from Fleckas Talks. He was there. I guess he's a part of the class action lawsuit or that press conference. Pretty cool. So shout out to Fleckas. That was cool seeing him there. Third thing I want to talk about is Juvenile. He's a rapper. If your kids are watching, I just want to say it's going to be more of an adult stream today. I don't feel like censoring myself because sometimes people say, Anomaly, I have my 12-year-olds watching your streams, and it's like, listen, adult stream today, time to close the ears, because I don't know how to talk about this without censoring myself. Juvenile's a rapper. He has a famous song called Back That Ass Up, and he remixed it and turned it into like a pharmacy banger, like, go get your vax or whatever. I'm going to play a clip from it. It's just like, it sucks that all these conspiracy theories are coming true. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like, I don't just make up fake crap, but I just want to say 3 years ago, if I were to sit here and say, guys, they're going to shut the country down. Guys, they're going to shut the country down. They're going to put everybody in their house, and then they're going to go door to door and tell you to get a vaccine. Everyone would have said, that's a conspiracy theory. They're not going to go door to door trying to tell you to get a vaccine. And now this year, it's the complete opposite. People are like, these conspiracy theorists don't want the government to come door to door to tell them to get a vaccine. It's like, do these people not realize, you get what I'm saying? Do they not realize that they just like flip completely? Like, it's not happening. Yeah, it's happening, but shut up. It's like, it's just unfortunate. And I wanted to, on the adult theme, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to say, I made a joke today on Twitter. I said, is anyone an extremist? Because they're talking about, cracking down on extremists, which would be great if we could come to a definition of what a real extremist is. But this is an extremist to them. I said, is anybody an extremist? Here are signs of an extremist: works out a lot, isn't depressed or self-loathing, doesn't hate the country, wants their neighborhood safe. Please keep an eye out for these radical right-wing bigots, That's what they think an extremist is. They're like, look at these workout people who don't want to just sit inside and eat Krispy Kreme donuts and get vaccinated and think that that's healthy. Look at these right-wing extremists who aren't depressed and self-loathing, who don't just sit inside their, San Francisco apartment and cry about how Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer hurt their feelings. Who's this extremist that doesn't hate their country? Someone, there's billions of people around the planet who would love to live in the United States, but we have 300 million people here, half who literally don't like it. And, God forbid you want your neighborhood safe. So got to keep your eye out for those extremists. If people think I'm being sarcastic before we start the real stream, here's a few articles from the last couple of years. This is from 2017. It says men who visit the gym are often less likely to believe in socioeconomic equality, finds research. The longer a man spent in the gym, the less they believed in the redistribution of wealth, according to findings. Wow, interesting article from Independent. So the more time a man, notice they didn't mention race because it exceeds race. This is a human experiment. Any man who works out and takes care of himself, all of a sudden they don't believe in communism anymore and socialism. They believe in the idea of working out instead of redistributing wealth. Wow, that's a shocking finding. Vice said, gym bros are more likely to be right-wing assholes, science confirms. No time to worry about socioeconomic equality when you've got to finish your reps, brah. I do think that gym bros are more likely to be right-wing assholes. I do think that's true, but they're trying to act like, working out leads to less communism. I wonder why. We could talk about that in a second. And here's another one. So there's a big anti-pornography movement going on in this country. A lot of it's coming from the right wing and a lot of it's coming from Christianity. And I think as somebody who understands both sides of the debate on the anti-pornography thing, like, I don't think it's healthy to just sit there and I'm sorry that this is adult. Please tell your kids to stop watching. I don't think it's healthy to just sit there and masturbate all the time. And if you do, I just think there needs to be a discussion of like, okay, is that going to affect your relationships? Is that going to affect your view on sex? Like, for instance, it's like a person that's wealthy that starts doing all this stuff. Sometimes you need more and more and more. I think the same could be true with pornography. But anyway, I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying at bare minimum, there should be a discussion around how healthy is it? How healthy is it not? Some people say it's good. Some people say it's bad. But here is the Rolling Stone saying how a new meme exposes the far right roots of No Nut November. A month-long masturbation abstinence challenge has a new Coomer meme mocking men who masturbate. So they're trying to paint this stuff as like a far right, alt-right conspiracy theory, like radical bigotry, where it's like working out and not masturbating for a month is like some sort of like Nazi conspiracy theory. It's like, no, I think Christians and conservatives have identified that, being a hedonist has its problems. And I think that's like the psychology of it before we get started. A hedonist is someone who always wants to feel pleasure in any sort of way. And it's only satisfactory for a long time. As somebody, I'm not going to say I'm a hedonist, but I do like to enjoy myself when it comes to food and working out. But if you're a hedonist when it comes to food, you're eating all the time. You become a glutton. You become fat. It's a sin. If you're a hedonist when it comes to sexuality, I mean, at a certain point, you're going to lose pleasure. It's not going to be fun anymore. You got to figure out that balance of like, making it worthwhile, appreciating what you have, but not just going full overboard on everything you do. So I think that's what it roots from. The Christian conservatives who have identified that, there is a psychological and physical impact to, pornography and masturbation. And they're trying to write all this stuff off as a right-wing conspiracy theory. It's just wild. But anyway, that's just a side note for the start. Just on my mind. Excuse me. Hold on. I got the Delta variant. Hold on, folks. Hold on. I think the Delta's coming on me. Hold on a second. Hold on. I don't know if that was the Lambda or the Delta. Hold on. I need some coffee. That might have been the Lambda. I think that might have been the Lambda. It came out of a fraternity. You had far right-wing radical frat bros partying too much. A lot of Me Tooing going on there. Variants flying out left and right. Obviously, a lot of them weren't vaccinated. By the way, that's a joke. I have to specify when I'm joking, because if I don't, they're going to fact check. They fact checked my last parody where I wore 5 masks. I said, my name's Don Johnstone, and I'm the biggest World's Mask fan. It was funny. I was actually pretty funny. I impressed myself. Anyway, 3 fact checks on Facebook, 3 of them for a comedy routine. I'm not really a guy who wears 2 masks. I thought it was funny. It was funny. I got fact checked 3 times on a freaking joke, so I got to watch myself. Anyway. First story I want to talk about is Independent says Biden goes door to door to boost Delta shots. I think that's a little misleading. Luckily, Biden, I'm not even sure if he could tie his shoes. So I doubt he can go to everybody's house. I don't know that he has the stamina to do that. To be quite fair, I don't either, to go to every door in the U.S. of unvaccinated people. But, the good news is I don't think Joe Biden himself is going to show up at your door. And if he did, he'd probably be looking for corn pop. It's been a long time since he saw him. Maybe he should check the inner city more, because his corn pop story sounded it's his urban appeal. He's like, come on, if you're not black, if you don't vote for me, come on, I got friends in the hood all over the place. Anyway, let's listen to the video, because I don't want to mislead on what's really going on. So Joe Biden talked about it, and then Jen Psaki talked about it. So here's Biden talking about it.
Special focus on 5 ways to make gains in getting those of you who are unvaccinated vaccinated. Because here's the deal. We are continuing to wind down the mass vaccination sites that did so much in the spring to rapidly vaccinate those eager to get their first shot and their second shot, for that matter, if they needed a second. Now we need to go to community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, and oftentimes door to door, literally knocking on doors, to get help to the remaining people protected from the virus.
All right, so he's talking about going door to door. First things first, I know there's a lot of politicization over this and whatnot, but do they really think people don't know how to get vaccinated? Like they didn't, guys, did you even know? Did you know you could get a vaccine? I had no idea. I mean, what part of every aspect of my life all the time, everywhere I go ever, like where haven't they put a vaccine advertisement? It's on Facebook, it's on Google, it's on YouTube. They got it on everywhere. It's on dating apps. It's on Instagram stories. You could post this, you could post that. It's on the NBA. I mean, you can't even turn. I turn, there's like a little vaccine guy in my house. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, I turn, there's like a little mascot. He's like, hey, I'm Vinny the vaccine man. It's like, yeah, I get it, Vinny. I get it. Yeah, I can get vaccinated, bro. I've only heard it 10 billion times over the last excuse my language, freaking year. Yeah, I get, everybody knows I can get vaccinated. So this idea like, hey, we need to go door to door because, people don't know. That's the problem in the inner cities and, people who don't have access. Everybody knows. Everyone knows. Most people have a cell phone in America. Most people watch television. You can't go anywhere. I can't even walk into my kitchen without a freaking vaccine sale somewhere. So this idea that like people just can't figure it out. Yeah, it's like, shut up. These people are trying to hold us for ransom, in my opinion. Holding someone for ransom is when you captive them. You keep them captive and you tell them, hey, I'll let your guy free. Just give me $1 million. That's called holding someone for ransom. You can go free, but I need something. They held us for ransom. You can't go here until you get this. You can't. There is no education. There is no vaccine hesitancy. There's vaccine psychosis, vaccine threats, vaccine ransom, and the threats of expulsion from school, the threats of being fired from work. We're being threatened and held for ransom over this vaccine. Everybody knows about it. I'm guessing pretty much everybody that wanted to get it got it. And now at this point, what they're going to do is threaten people into getting it. And millions of people have gotten it under their own choice. And I don't care. That sounds awesome. Millions of people have been threatened into getting it. Millions of teenagers and millions of young adults are they don't want to get it. They've done the research. They don't want it. They're being threatened with removal from society. So this idea that this is optional, this idea that we don't know, everyone knows. They're just trying to act like they're educating us while they're threatening us to get this product. That's what they're doing. They know they're doing it. They just don't care. These people are gross. But anyway, Jen Psaki, let's listen to what she says.
The president will outline 5 areas his team is focused on to get more Americans vaccinated. 1, targeted community by community door-to-door outreach to get remaining Americans vaccinated by ensuring they have the information they need on how both safe and accessible the vaccine is.
Yeah, people just don't know the information. I mean, they need someone from the Biden administration to go to your door to educate you, as if you didn't get educated in every single way. They're not interested in education. If you search, is the COVID-19 FDA approved? They don't tell you that it's not. It's emergency use authorized. But instead of saying, no, it's not FDA approved, it's emergency use authorized, it's safe, blah, blah, blah. They don't answer the question, just like Fauci when he got grilled by Eugenio Derbez, the Hispanic actor. He just says, they say, is it FDA approved? And he said, yeah, it's emergency use authorized. And he said, no, but is it FDA approved? He's like, it'll get there eventually. No, it's really safe. No, is it FDA approved? Oh, man, this has gone under. I've taken it myself. That's called gaslighting. It's like, no, is it FDA approved? They don't tell you that. They're not educating people. They are trying to threaten people, harass people, and hold them for ransom to get the vaccine. I've gotten vaccines before in my life, when I was younger, when I was mid-aged, and when I was older. I'm not anti-vaccine, but at this point, I'm pro leave me alone. At this point, I can't trust anything they ever do anymore. I don't tell people what to do with their life, but yeah, I'm good for now. Thanks for your option, aka your threats for over a year of not being able to go to baseball games, soccer games, football games. Go here, can't travel here, can't. That's not education. This is not education. This is hysteria and threatening. And they just can't stop threatening because everybody didn't get it. So the less people who get it, or the more time goes on and they haven't hit 60, 70, 80, 90% of the population, they're just going to keep threatening. But thank you so much, Jen Psaki. I'm hoping a Biden administration person shows up at my door because, believe it or not, I mean, I've spent years of researching all this stuff. I know more than Jen Psaki and Biden on the topic. I could probably out-debate both of them and run circles around them when it comes to vaccine education. But yeah, I haven't actually heard it. There's a vaccine? No, there's no way. Is there really? What companies are doing it? I had no idea there was a cure for the Rona, or at least a shot that you can get that, Israel now says is less effective than they thought because the variant or whatever. Thank God that they're going door to door, because I didn't even know. I mean, it's not like everywhere I look, there's vaccine education. So I needed someone at my door. Thank you so much. Someone was joking online, instead of Jehovah's Witness, they called him Moderna's Witness, showing up at your door. Have you been vaccinated? It's like, I'm good. I know the Lord. Thank you, though. Anyway, that's the first story. little bit creepy, and a conspiracy theory from 4 years ago that they'd go door to door trying to get you vaccinated. Now the people who said that'll never happen, that's a conspiracy theory, they're saying, yeah, that's happening. You're a conspiracy theorist for not thinking that's completely normal. It's like, what a joke. Second story I want to talk about real quick. It's Juvenile. I don't know if you guys know Juvenile. I know we got some boomers, some zoomers, some millennials. We got all sorts of people here. We don't discriminate. But we do make fun of people individually based on, their age, because it's funny sometimes. But anyway, and that goes for every age group. We can make a millennial joke. We can't have millennials cry here. Juvenile has a song called Back That Ass Up. It's, I would say, one of the more famous rap songs of the last 20 years. It's never goes away. If you go to parties or your kids go to parties, sorry, they're probably dancing to this song. Hopefully your daughters are, dressed appropriately and not wilding out too much. But it's a very big song. I'm sorry about that. Juvenile, Back That Ass Up. And this was such a bad parody. I seriously didn't think it was actually Juvenile. I thought it was just some degenerate like online or something that was like, a TikTok star, like vax your thing up, switching the lyrics. I didn't realize it was the actual artist of the song, Juvenile, who redid it. I hope he got paid a lot of money for this. I doubt he just spontaneously thought of doing this. Like, oh man, Juvenile, what have you been up to, man? He's like, actually, I've been working with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, really researching vaccines with Lupe Fiasco. It's like, maybe he was, but I'm guessing that they probably just paid him. I don't know that for sure. I just highly doubt. Maybe I'm wrong about Juvenile. Maybe he's a big vaccine advocate, but interesting career choice. I'm just going to play the song. You've probably heard the original. This is apparently the actual artist who remixed it for Big Pharma. This is like a conspiracy theory nightmare for me. If I would have said this 2 years ago, Juvenile is going to be making vaccine songs, like, is this hell? Or no, I'm just kidding. Here. They're like throwing out vaccine Moderna cards and stuff. It sucks because I don't think I'm that cool. I think I'm moderately cool, but I don't think I'm that cool. I'm like the coolest rapper in the world right now by default. And it's not an exciting thing. I don't think I should be in the top echelon of cool people, but I really am. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying this is what could possibly be less cool than Manny Fresh and Juvenile throwing vaccine cards for Big Pharma. I mean, it's like I look like Bing Crosby compared to these people. I look like Ray Charles with better vision, hopefully for a longer time. God is great. It's just embarrassing, but yeah, no, I mean, that's really cool. What I meant to say is that's really cool and really scientific. And it's really thoughtful of them. I'm sure there was no financial incentive there. And I mean, it's just great to see my brother, getting young brothers and sisters vaccinated, because, that's how we're going to fight the Delta variant until they tell us that the Delta variant, it doesn't work. And then we got to get another one. And then we're just subservient to Big Pharma for the rest of our lives, getting yearly shots of God knows what. But no, that's really good that they're doing that. And I'm really proud of them, because, twerking to vaccine cards is just really good for the culture. Anyway, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Let's move to the next song. Former President Donald Trump, or in the eyes of half of his supporters, still President Donald Trump, and he's going to return like Christ in August or something, because QAnon and the MyPillow guy told them to. But former President Trump, he had some sort of lawsuit. He's filing a class action lawsuit against Facebook, Google, Twitter. I'm trying to find the video real quick because he says Sundar Pichai, and it's the funniest thing. He's like, I'm gonna find it. He says all three CEOs. He says Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, Jack Dorsey, all great guys. The way he says Sundar Pichai is so funny. Hold on, I gotta find it. He really is a class act.
The big tech giants,
Listen.
including Facebook, Google, and Twitter, as well as their CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai.
He says Sundar, and his lips go like that. He says Sundar. He says Sundar Pichai. Hold on, I gotta run that back. I do miss the press conferences. Listen.
As well as their CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Jack Dorsey. 3 real nice guys.
Jack Dorsey. I mean, it's pretty funny. Anyway, he's Sundar Jack Dorsey. All great guys. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think it's good. First of all, I want to say shout out to Fleckas. I think that's pretty cool. Fleckas from Fleckas Talks. He does a lot of street interviews, some comedy stuff. It was cool to see him at a press conference. So I guess he's a part of the class action lawsuit, and fun day for him hanging out with Trump. Very cool. I mean, I think it's a good thing for the most part. I think any sort of, I don't know the actual legality of how to win because they're protected by Section 230. I agree with Trump. He got a raw deal, and as annoying as he's become to me with his vaccine selling, they gave him a raw deal. They're trying to act like he's too dangerous to bring back on social media. Oh, because of the 6th event, Trump is he's too dangerous. Like, we can't risk having him back on social media. That's not why they want Trump off. Everybody knows that. He's a leader who doesn't say exactly what liberals say, and he makes a lot of really good points, and they don't like that. So I think, they just don't want him on social media, not because they think he's dangerous, but because they hate, I think, half the country, to be honest. Anybody who isn't like a full-blown communist, socialist, let's close down and vax everybody and just hold hands and get fatter and just yell at models and gym bros or something. Yeah, they're not a fan of that. So he has every right to sue as a private citizen. I wish him the best of luck. And I think regardless of what people think, I hope it works. I mean, why wouldn't I? I hope that someone gets through to big tech, because all of this censorship, whether it's medical censorship, whether it's political censorship, whether it's under the guise of hate speech, something has to give. And I do wonder if it's going to work or not. So overall, I hope he's successful, and I hope everybody involved is successful. On that note, I do think, it begs to ask the question, like, he was president for 4 years. So it's kind of like a funny move where he's like a private citizen now suing. I mean, I'm glad he is, but it's like, dude, you were in the White House. I made a joke. I was like, man, this guy's pretty good. Maybe he could run for office, because the last guy did socialism, Operation Warp. Oh, wait, never mind. But hold on. I'm going to read the super chat. Someone said, I've been watching this channel for more than a year or two. I really appreciate your dedication. Truly. Thank you, T. Wells. I'm a little annoyed at the Republican Party. I'm just going to read them. I have a little mail here that they've sent me, but I'm glad the lawsuit's going through, but I really feel like, and call me out if you think I'm wrong, but they don't want to focus on medical tyranny. Like, every day I get messages and people are like, Anomaly, I can't go to school, or I'm being threatened over this vaccine. Millions of people are being harassed and held for ransom over this Operation Warp Speed vaccine that Trump greenlighted through. And the amount of energy that they pushed it through is this much. And the amount of energy they have fighting against it, in my opinion, is like this much, besides maybe Ron DeSantis and a few others. So to me, at a certain point, I do feel like it's like this big show where they're doing things that they could have done 3 years ago in the White House. Now it's this never-ending show with the audit and never-ending show with this social media stuff where someone needs to do a lawsuit. But I'm like, are they ever going to talk about the big issue, the elephant in the room? And speaking of elephants, I got a Republican Party mail, not like directly, but they're trying to get me to donate money. I'm sure you guys have gotten this too. I'm just going to read it. I don't want to believe you've abandoned the Republican Party, but I have to ask, have you given up? Our records show we have not received RNC membership renewal contribution. I'm ripping this up. My thumb still hurts. It's kind of broken, but I don't want to give you money, RNC. You guys aren't doing anything. So if you guys put together some sort of organization to stand up for kids who are being forced vaccinated because of your trash policies, then maybe I'll donate. But until then, I'm just ripping up your stupid mail. Stop begging me for money. You don't deserve my money, and you don't even deserve my support, because you guys aren't doing anything with the biggest issue in the room. And I do want to say this, not to repeat myself, but all of these ideas that people have under the Trump movement and the Republican movement, you want to stop socialism or communism. You want to stop, the radical left, right? You want the country to be safe. You want the economy to prosper. These are mainstream Republican talking points. And the big elephant in the room is March, April, May, June, July of last year, where we had McConnell, Trump, and the entire Republican Party outside of Thomas Massie print trillions of dollars. If people don't know, Venezuela, when the hyperinflation hit, Oh my God, Venezuela socialist. Go ask somebody from Venezuela why hyperinflation hit. One of the main reasons is they started just printing money. You can't just print money. That's every Republican should know that, but it's not just the Democrats who did that. The Republicans did it. And here's my thing. They don't even care because nobody talks about it. So Tim Scott got on stage and he said, we did a bipartisan act and Nancy Pelosi's a Democrat. And I'm like, translation is we did communism and socialism in a bipartisan fashion. It's like, that's not impressive, bro. So I feel like, nobody wants to address the elephant in the room, which is the medical tyranny. And if you can't stop medical tyranny, first of all, millions of children are being threatened right now. So if you can't protect your kids, this country's doomed. If you can't stand up for the most vulnerable in your country, the karma of your country is going to go downward. So I feel like, no offense, there's a lot of Christians and boomers and older Trump supporters who they can't even protect their children. They can't protect their community. They can't stand up for their constitution. And they sit on the couch, and there's millennials who do this too. And they fantasize because Mike Lindell told them that Trump is going to return this year. Oh, the audits are going to bring Trump back into office. First of all, I hate to break people's bubble. Trump's not getting back into office unless he runs in 2024. No matter how successful the audits are, I hope they are wildly successful. He's not coming back into office. It's not this loyal thing. Like people are so loyal to Trump. It's a cope because nobody in America wants to face the truth and do anything. So they'd rather sit on the couch and live vicariously through Trump, who's selling vaccines and suing Zuckerberg after having lunch with Zuckerberg. And they want to act like he's going to save their whole world. At a certain point, it's not loyalty. It's like you're betraying your country because your country needs your help. And also beyond that, the medical tyranny stuff is just crazy. I mean, what they're doing to kids in universities, this isn't even a top 10 talking point to the Republican Party. So my question is this: even if the audits were successful, which I think they maybe can be, even if they got Trump back into office, which I don't think is going to happen, it's not going to solve that problem. The problem is not just McConnell. The problem is not just Pelosi. The problem is not just AOC. The problem is Donald Trump and the Republican Party put through AOC-like printing bills last year and medical tyranny beyond anything like I could even imagine. And even if they get back into office, they won't even address that problem. So, I'm glad he's suing big tech, but I do feel like this is part of kind of like a distraction sort of thing where we run circles around the same topics for 4 years, make no progress on them. And the elephant in the room is never addressed by the Republican Party. The elephant in the room is never addressed by Trump or the GOP. And because everybody worships Trump, there's more people in the Republican Party now that look at Trump and say, I think he's going to return in 2020 like Christ and save my country. There's more people like that than can even identify what I just said. So, the doom of the Republican Party is not just going to be Trump or not Trump. It's going to be a bunch of people who want to just sit there and think he's going to save their world. Ricky said when Trump comes back, watch Anomaly switch up. There is no switch up. People accuse me. I don't really care, but people say, oh, Anomaly did this after the election to save his Facebook career or something. First of all, you can find my videos from March, April, May, June, July, August, September of last year before Trump even ran. I said all the same stuff then because it's not anti-Trump. People say you're anti-Trump. You're a climate denier. You're an anti-vaxxer. These are just words to put you down when you can't debunk the argument. I'm not anti-Trump. It's pro-America, pro-Constitution, pro-freedom, anti-medical tyranny. It's a bipartisan operation that Trump helped usher in, and there's no push whatsoever to stop it or to push back against it as it's now threatening children. So if your worship of Trump supersedes your care for tens of millions of kids in this country who are being forced vaccinated or threatened over them, what are you? You're just like a member of a religion where you just sit there and worship your daddy instead of actually helping your country. So there is no anti-Trump, pro-Trump, this, that. Like I get this statement, but this is the big thing. The top issue in the entire country and the entire world is not even a top 5 issue in the Republican Party, and it's not even a top 5 issue in Trump's world. So you're going to follow a guy who's not going to do that. So it's not going to get done. You get what I'm saying? It's very simple what I'm saying, but I had a great chat the other night. Someone said you whine too much about Trump. Guys, I'm reporting a story, but I sat with a lot of people last night, a lot of conservatives, a lot of older men, and it was like a group chat and people were talking about stuff and it was awesome. And, there's a lot of, it's interesting when you talk in person rather than online because it's more real. But that's one thing that I see online, and that's one thing that I see in person. People get it for sure. It's easy to talk to people in person, but I do feel like everybody's just sitting there and they think Trump's going to return this year and save their whole world when it was him who gave this all up in 2020. So, I mean, you're going to beg for a result that isn't going to solve the problem. The problem is going to get solved when millions of people actually realize what's going on, but people don't want to. So I don't understand why people, I mean, I guess you don't want to hear that. So you could, promo code Mike Lindell. He'll sit there and tell you Trump's going to return like Christ, and then he doesn't. It's like a false pastor. Oh, Trump's going to return in January, and everyone believed him. Oh my God. Mike Lindell knows Trump. He would never lie to me. Well, he said Trump was going to come back on the 6th. And then he said Trump was going to come back on the 20th. And now he's saying Trump's going to come back in August. Yeah, keep believing the pillow salesman. I like Mike Lindell. He seems like a great guy, but it's like you don't want to hear what will actually help and save your country. You'd rather run circles around a guy selling pillows who tells you that Trump's going to return like your Lord and Savior to save the country when it doesn't even make sense based on what happened last year. And even if the audits are wildly successful, I'm sorry, he's not coming back this year. Like, that's not a loyalty. I know I don't want to argue about this that long, but it's not a loyal thing. Like, oh, you're so much more loyal to Trump than me. No, it's a lazy thing. That's what a lazy man does when you don't actually want to save your country, help your children, do anything for your community, stand up for your constitution, realize that socialism and communism was bipartisan last year. And there's no even, speaking of the forced vaccination that's going on, it's not even a top 5 issue for the GOP. It's not loyalty to Trump. People are just lazy and they don't have any backbone or spine. They have no patriotic energy. So they sit there on the couch, and it's easier to think that, well, maybe that guy's going to save my life because I'm too lazy to save my own life. Maybe that guy's going to reverse all this communism because I can't do it. That's what it is. It's not loyalty. It's like laziness and weakness. No offense, but there is no like patriot energy. If you're a patriot, let Trump inspire you to actually do something, inspire you to stand up in your own community or put your foot down. But this is a result of 80 million patriots following a guy who sells vaccines, who ushered in socialism and communism. I'm against socialism. When Tim Scott talks about it, I don't like it. I don't think the government needs more power, and you can't just print money. Why do you think Venezuela? You guys spent 3 years talking about Venezuela. Venezuela is socialist. We hate socialism. They got socialism by printing too much money. Trump and McConnell and Tim Scott, they were printing money last year, more money than Obama and Clinton. What do you think is going to happen? It's unfortunate, but people are going to need a rude awakening call. They say strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. We got a lot of weak men out here, and a lot of weak men pretending to be strong. So it's like there's going to be hard times, and it's going to be a rude awakening. People are going to figure out real fast that it was bipartisan, and there is no magical ending like this guy's going to return this year to save me. That's all I'm saying. The big issue in the room is medical tyranny. The big issue in the room is forced vaccination. The big issue in the room is printing trillions of dollars. And the GOP not only doesn't want to talk about them, but is bragging about 2 out of 3 of those things. They're happy about it. You're worshiping a leader who brought this. You're worshiping a political party who doesn't even care. And they don't have to care because their base is that foolish that they're going to get tricked with these little trickery things. We're fighting Nancy Pelosi. How are you fighting Nancy Pelosi when you sign a bill that prints money like Venezuela with her? You get what I'm saying? It's simple. I don't want to harp on it that much, but it's like anomaly change. No, you guys don't even realize, but the worship of an icon made people not even support their own values. It's like I've been against communism since I realized what it was, and I studied it and I learned it. I'm still against it. But when the Republicans start becoming communist light, what's the point? You get what I'm saying? I think Michael Malice says, conservatism is progressivism with a speed limit. That's like the most accurate quote ever, where it's like the Democrats are going towards communism at 80 miles an hour. The Republicans are going at communism at 40 miles an hour. And you guys get mad at me for saying the Republicans are going towards communism at 40 miles an hour. That's all I'm saying. Someone said, so run for president. It's not just the president who has power. You have individual sovereignty over your own life. If you don't like your God-given rights, if me standing up for my God-given rights is a threat to your Trump worship, you're not going to have God-given rights for very long. And to be quite honest, you don't deserve God-given rights for that long because God gave you those rights, and you'd rather make excuses for a vaccine salesman and communism when it's your party then actually stand up for your God-given rights. So what I'm saying is you don't have to run for president. You don't even have to be president. You just have to identify what I'm saying and actually stop complaining about it. It's really that simple. So, it's communism at a speed limit. I get that it's slightly helpful, but at a certain point, unless the conservative base realizes this, you're on the same track. You're going the same direction as the Democrats, just slightly slower. So maybe I'm crazy. I don't want communism, but I know I'm not crazy because every time I talk to people, they just cry and say, you switched up. Okay, then sit on a cart to communism. It's like this. It's going to take more than just a lawsuit or a president. It's really, really simple. The answer is simple, but I think a lot of people are lazy. And I'm not trying to be rude to anybody here. A lot of people are lazy. A lot of people are weak. A lot of people are cowards. So it's hard to realize I am in control of my own life. I don't blame Biden for my career. I don't blame Trump for my career. If anything, Trump absolutely helped, as far as he helped a lot of people in the media because he was interesting, different, and people loved him, hated him. He was the media magnet. So I'm grateful for Trump, what he did culturally, what he did media-wise, and I would never say otherwise. But it's a hard thing for people to realize that maybe you should be the hero of your own story. Maybe you should stand up for your children. Maybe you should stand up for your community. Maybe you should put your foot down. Maybe you should stop complying. That's difficult for a lot of people to process. So they act like they're so loyal to Trump, but it's really just laziness, cowardliness, weakness, and really anti-patriotic vibes where it's like, man, it would be more fun to sit here and listen to Mike Lindell talk about how Trump's going to return and save my whole life. It's like, yeah, that's easy because it's not real, because it's like a fantasy story you tell yourself when you don't want to play a role in the rehabilitation of your country. It's going to take more than that. So now I'm a huge threat to the right wing. I mean, look at this guy. Anomaly really changed up. I mean, I used to be against communism, and he's explaining why both parties are bringing it. But now I support communism because I think the guy who brought it's going to fight it in 2024. Or I'm so delusional, I think he's going to come back next year from the audits. He's not coming back from the audits, guys. I hope the audits go well, but Trump's not resurfacing like Jesus Christ to save your life. That's what you tell yourself when you're too cowardly to actually identify what happened last year. And what happened last year was bipartisan communism from Trump, from McConnell, from Pelosi. They went further left than AOC, and you guys all ate it up because Daddy Vaccine was there telling you that he's fighting socialism as he's ushering in socialism. He's fighting China as he shifts our country towards China. Our country looks more like communist China now and in 2020 under Trump than it did under Obama. I'm sorry that happened. So either you identify it. I'm not being hateful towards them. I'm just identifying what happened. So there's two options. Either you identify it and realize that you're a part of the equation, or you sit on the couch, watch Fox News, and listen to people who convince you that Donald Trump is going to return and save America, even though in 4 years he sent America spiraling towards socialism. Anomaly, no. Someone said, wow, blah. It's the truth. I don't care. Listen, you can not like me. You can hate me. You can unsubscribe to me. I don't really care. I live my own life, okay? I didn't like the media. I became the media. I didn't like what they're doing. My last video on medical tyranny with Busta Rhymes has 500,000 views. I'm getting more views than MSNBC is from my living room. So I don't care what you guys say. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm doing it effectively, and I'm standing up against communism and medical tyranny more than the entire GOP is. They don't know what they're doing. They're just sucking up your donor money to then sell you out. Hey, guys, give us hundreds of millions of dollars. You guys give the GOP billions of dollars, and then they turn your country into a communist shithole, and then you guys act like it didn't even happen. So keep donating to the GOP. Here's what I'm doing to the GOP, ripping up their stupid mail asking me for money. So you could be mad at me, but I'm not living vicariously through someone else. I'm being the patriot I'm supposed to be. And if everybody else was the patriot they were supposed to be, this country wouldn't be like that. But that's the weak generation. It's not just the boomers. It's not just the millennials or the Zoomers or the Gen Z. It's all of us. It's this weak, lazy. You look at New York City in 1910, everybody has a suit on. Everybody's skinny. Now everybody's, no offense, our country's fat, lazy, depressed, and everybody wants to act like Trump's going to save their whole life. It's not coming from a position of strength. It's coming from a position of, well, if he doesn't save my life, who will? How many times have I heard that? If Trump doesn't save us, who will? I don't know. You? Are you that sad of a person that Trump's going to save your whole life? Are you mistaking him with Jesus? Are you a Christian? Then you should believe in Jesus. And if you're crying about Trump not saving your life and you're not even talking about Jesus, maybe you got duped, okay? Because I don't think that's very Christ-like. But in general, it's like, this is the number one excuse I hear from people. Well, if Trump doesn't save me, who will? It's like, are you that, no offense, but are you that sad? Trump's got to save your life or else you're screwed? That's pathetic. That's what a lot of, no offense, that's what a lot of the conservative movement has become. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to stand up for your kids. How in the world is what I'm even saying a controversial opinion? I don't even have kids, but the fact that so many 19, 20, and 21-year-olds are hitting me up saying, anomaly, I'm getting forced vaccinated at school. If I don't get a vaccine, I'm getting expelled. Where's Ronald McDonald? Ronna McDaniel, same thing, just kidding. Ronna McDaniel, where's she talking about this? She doesn't give a shit. Where's Trump talking about this? He mentioned it maybe once out of his 50 vaccines. He doesn't give a shit about the kids. And where are their parents? Where are the parents of your kids being expelled from school? Is that most of them are probably either psycho liberals or worshiping at the feet of Trump, where they don't even give a shit about their own conservative kids anymore. So I don't even have kids, and I'm more concerned about my country and the youth in this country than these parents who just would rather wave a Trump flag and hope that he's going to save his life. It's like, if you don't care about the fact that tens of millions of teenagers and young adults are given the option, go to school to be $100,000 in debt and get forced vaccinated, or you're kicked out of school, why am I one of the only Republicans talking about that? Do you know why? Because they don't give a shit about you. They give a shit about money. They give a shit about power. They give a shit about their next Fox News interview where they're that guy, even though they're not saying shit. They give a shit about the next speech they tell at a school and say, we're standing up for your free speech, even though they're really not. That's what they care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't think socialism sucks. Socialism sucks until Trump and McConnell sign off on printing money like Venezuela. Then all of a sudden they don't really say shit. Do you know why? Because they don't give a shit. That's why. So this is what real passion sounds like. So you can get mad at it if you want, but you know, you're not going to see this quite often because there's a lot of phonies out there and a lot of people that are concerned about a lot of things besides preserving the country. So there's no hating. I don't hate Trump. I could go off for 10 minutes and tell you everything that I appreciate about him, and maybe I will. But I am trying to inspire people to stop living vicariously through him. I mean, you can, but at a certain point, you have to realize, like, if your job force vaccinates you, Trump's not going to save you. He doesn't give a shit about you, okay? The GOP doesn't care about you either. Maybe Robert Kennedy cares about you, and there's a few people that actually do care. Maybe Peggy Hall might care. But most of these conservatives, they're not going to be there for you. So at a certain point, we all have to live our own lives. We have to support each other, but it really starts here. It starts with everybody doing their part, you know? When it comes to the compliance of all this stuff, how many people say they're patriots and conservatives and anti-communism, but they comply to a communist style, you know, takeover because they don't want to lose this or lose. I get it, but it's like, it's, you know, it's going to take a group effort. And that's not a hatred towards Trump, or that's not anger towards Trump. I'm not angry at all. Someone said, when are you going to run for office? Guys, the media is, in my opinion, more important than running for office. The media controls the minds of the masses. They're able to basically dictate what happens in this country, regardless of who's president. Trump's president, he couldn't even do anything against the corporate class. And, you know, in 2020, he fell short of what he wanted to do. So it's not the only thing. I don't mind if you guys say when you're going to run for office, like, inspiring, but if a lot of people are like, you have to run for office or you mean nothing. I didn't like the media. Guys, I'm outperforming corporate media with a cell phone. Cut me some slack. I got 500,000 views yesterday with a cell phone video that I edited myself, with a lighting that I lighted myself, with a computer that I bought myself, thanks to somewhat the funds that people give me on Patreon and Facebook, obviously. But in general, I'm playing my part. Okay, I'm not Superman. I'm not your savior either. Pray to Jesus. Okay, don't look for me for help. But I'm playing my part. I could definitely work harder, but there's different angles of this that we have to do. Corporate, media, sports. You know, what if we had a sports star, Cole Beasley, Kanye West? You know, like, that's it. We need more people in these industries that are speaking up too. So I'm playing my role. I'm not interested in politics, but it's not coming from a snarky position like, oh my God, I'm so much better than everyone else, or I'm better than Trump. I'm trying to inspire people where it's like, I don't mind what people do, but here's my thing where I get a little bit of attitude, and I apologize, but I'm doing my part. I'm saying things that people won't say from a position of strength. And not only do people not want to do anything, which I would never bother you, but now people are trying to stop me. Oh, anomalies, this and that. It's like the least you could do. If you don't want to go the distance for freedom, if you don't want to go the distance against medical tyranny, if you don't want to go the distance standing up for children who are being forced vaccinated, then the least you could do is just not annoy me while I do it, because I'm going to do it anyway. I don't really care who annoys me or who says what. I'm still going to do it. So I would think the least you could do is at least either stay out of my way or appreciate the fact that, well, yeah, Trump's not really talking about that. Ronna McDaniel's not talking about that. There's no TPUSA event for this. No one's really talking about it that much, but Anomaly's really passionate about it. Just let me do it, because there's a huge void. And just to repeat myself, do I read the comments? Yeah, I just read yours, Linda. Sorry, sometimes I rant and I don't get on it. But the reason I say this too, I know that everybody watching my video, or a majority of them, they don't like communism. A lot of these right wingers, they don't want socialism and medical tyranny. They don't want, communist China. We became communist China last year. So if you don't want all this stuff, the elephant in the room is the medical tyranny. The elephant in the room is the vaccines. The elephant in the room is the lockdown. This is the elephant in the room. You can't do anything. You're not going to be able to do anything in the Trump administration's agenda if you don't focus on the elephant in the room. And I'm telling you, the GOP is not focused on the elephant in the room. Most of them are not. To Ron DeSantis' credit, he seems to be the only one smart enough and witty enough to hold his own in that arena. The rest of them look like fools. No, DeSantis knows exactly how to handle the COVID stuff, how to speak, how to act against it. Trump doesn't know what he's doing with that stuff. And I know you guys like Trump, and I like Trump. I think he's funny, but if you don't know what you're doing with the medical tyranny, and they're using that to take away your economy, every economic accomplishment that Trump had got wiped away from that. If he doesn't get that, he's not going to be successful. You might think he's going to be successful because you want him to be successful, because you don't want to admit that he might not be successful. So it's not coming from a position of strength. It's coming from a position of laziness. Like, if not Trump, then who? Someone like DeSantis, who actually knows what's going on. And I'm not saying DeSantis is perfect. Now people are going to cry, Anomaly shilling for the Zionist, Ron DeSantis. Listen, I compliment people when they do things good. If I disagree with a law, I say I disagree with it. And I don't judge people based on differences that don't really matter that much to me. But in general, I just like to give compliments, so I'm not just like a hater crying all the time. It's like, he knows how to handle the COVID stuff. Trump just doesn't. And if you don't know how to handle it, people are hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. You're just, it's a big rally. It's a big rally for what? You can't preserve the freedom in this country. They're using all of this stuff that I just mentioned to usher in a new regime that is like communist China. Our country's more like communist China now than ever. How did it get like this? Through the pandemic, through the health distance, through the vaccine, through the regulation of it, through the funding, through the trillions of dollars they printed. Why do you think there's so much money for vaccines going around? Who do you think gave them all the money? Why do you think they're shoving this stuff down your throat? Oh, well, Trump had nothing to do with it. Look at the CARES Act. The CARES Act gave them all this money. And then Biden signs the thing. He signed the same thing Trump would have signed. You think Trump wasn't going to sign it if he's in office? Trump wasn't helping you in this category. I'm not blaming him. He wasn't going to save you. He never was going to help you. It's just easy now that he lost to think, oh, if he would have won, he would have saved my whole life. No, he wouldn't have. He would have signed those same bills that Biden did to fund billions upon trillions of dollars so that they could then weaponize the media and culture against you to shove a vaccine down your throat. That's what they're doing. I dare you to go over the CARES Act and read where all the funding went. That was the biggest redistribution of wealth, the biggest big pharma power grab, the biggest emergency fraud, communist, socialist bill in modern history. And Trump gave it a thumbs up and told Thomas Massie to shut his mouth. So not blaming. I'm just saying, if you don't identify that, you can go to the Trump rally, you could wave your flag, you can get mad at Anomaly and call me all sorts of names, but you're never going to save this country. You're never going to stop the communist takeover. You're never going to stand up against medical tyranny. And to be quite honest, you're never going to save the economy, because what they did during March through now, they wiped out a lot of their competition through lockdowns, and it went across all 50 states, and our country's still not open. Someone said DeSantis. Listen, nobody's perfect in politics. Everybody does something, but he's smart enough and calculated enough. And I was reading his Wikipedia. Apparently he did prosecution, lawyer. I mean, he might be newer to politics somewhat, but he understands law, and people think that's not important. It really is, though. So he's, in my opinion, way better equipped than Trump. Like, it sucks that this happened, but now that our whole world has been swallowed by this pandemic culture, in order to get it back, if that's even possible at this point, it would have to be through someone who understands how they're doing it. you can say what you want, but I really just don't think Trump understands any of this stuff, or he just doesn't care. I like to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's got to be someone like a DeSantis who understands how they're taking stuff away and who understands how they're using this stuff to take. I think Trump gets it a little bit, but he doesn't. I mean, it's not working out. Someone said your link is broken on Facebook. Yeah, I get it. My link's broken. I don't know. They don't want people to watch my live stream or something. I get it. It's okay. They break my link and I still get 250,000 views on my new video. So 250,000 views on Facebook, 250,000 views on Instagram. I don't want to brag because they'll probably try to steal that from me at a certain point, but I'm putting up bigger numbers than MSNBC, news hosts, and I'm just using my cell phone. It's pretty exciting. So Tom says, why does this sound like a no hope situation? Tom, appreciate the comment. I do read the comments. It's not a no hope situation. This is what I'm going to try to say. People build their whole faith in Trump instead of Christ. If I'm not telling people, I got Muslims who watch me, God bless you. I got atheists who watch me. I got Jews who watch me. I got Hindus who watch me, but I got a lot of Christians who watch me. If you're a Christian, your faith should be in Christ. Okay. If you're a Muslim, your faith should be in Allah, not in Donald Trump. So everyone's like, this sounds like a no hope situation. It sounds like a no hope situation because people have put their Christ-like or Allah-like faith into Donald Trump, and they think that Trump's going to save their world. So the second you tell them, yeah, maybe Trump, DeSantis, they're not going to save your whole world. They might help, they might not, but it's up to you and your faith and your community to do something. It only sounds like a no hope situation if your entire hope's into Trump. And that's what all these Q people and the military's in control tell me. They're like, you're a black pill, you're a doomer. I'm one of the most optimistic people on social media. I'm not a pessimist. Your whole faith is in something that it shouldn't be in. So when someone tells you that you shouldn't have it, to you, that sounds like there's no faith. But my whole life doesn't revolve around what Trump will or won't do for me. I appreciated when he did good things. I didn't appreciate the bad things. But overall, I don't hate him. I'm not angry at him. It's annoying to some extent what happened, but it's also really funny. I think the way he said Sundar Pichai, he's hilarious. So I'm not angry. It is what it is. And now, the world is what it is. I didn't want Joe Biden to be president. I didn't want Jen Psaki to say people were going to go door to door for the unvaxxed. This is not what I wanted, but I don't have no hope. My hope is not only in the Lord, but my hope is in that God wakes people up to the point of from a Christian perspective, I'm not the biggest Bible thumper and I'm not the most knowledgeable person and I'm not a preacher, but I will say this. There's two options, I think, for Christians as far as where they're going to go in the future. So either Christians are going to get smarter and stronger and save their country, or they're going to head towards a Revelation style time where they're going to be conquered. And the pro to that would be, if you're a Christian, then you just say, well, I'm going to heaven. I don't really care. So in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with either. If you're tapped out and you're like, what's going to happen is going to happen. I'm going to go to heaven either way. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I see in the Christian base in America is you have all these Christian patriots who spend all their time, fighting for America, and they think America is going to be saved. But then on the other hand, they're not willing to take the steps to do what would actually save America, where it's like at this rate, it's not going to be saved. Definitely there could be like Christ-like intervention, but it's like either you're going to heaven on a train to communism, or Christians get smarter and realize how to actually save their country. There is no, I'm a patriot, but I don't want to save my country, but I'm going to get mad at people who want to. It's like, well, then you're more of like a doomy, like I'm done Christian. I'm going to heaven anyway. So I feel like that's the disconnect, is like people spend their whole lives into politics, but the second you try to tell them that maybe something's not happening, they're like, no. It's like, what, I don't know. That's how I see it. But either way, I'm sorry, it's Starbucks. It was convenient. It's close. I just got it. It's trash, but it's okay. Someone said, if they come to my door, what should I do? Well, I'm not an advice giver. I'm not going to tell people what to do. In my perspective, I probably just wouldn't answer the door. I mean, the legality of it is interesting. Aren't you supposed to have privacy with your medical advice? Who has that stuff where they're allowed to go door to door? I wouldn't worry about it. Also, I would not advise anybody. Someone said, I don't think God wants his people to sit and do nothing. No, I agree. I think God gave us life and he gave us the ability. Like one of the things that's most inspiring, I think, is everybody eventually is going to, at least not their soul, God, God willing, but their body is eventually going to wear down unless we become Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos robots, in which maybe my body will last for thousands of years. But I'm guessing, like most people on earth, my body's going to wear down. And it's not a bad thing if you use it to inspire you. Everybody's so afraid now. A lot of this, like, he's going to save me, not talking about Jesus, but I'm talking about Trump or whoever. It comes from this place of, like, everybody's afraid. They're afraid to lose their job. They're afraid to, be outcasted. They're afraid to get out of the industry. They're afraid of the persecution. And I understand why, because it's a creepy world. But in my opinion, it's like, I don't know. Everyone's going to die eventually. So if you don't do anything, you're going to die. And if I don't do anything, I'm going to die. And I pray that my soul goes to heaven. But it's not like if you don't do anything, it's like, it's the same thing as like lockdowns. Like, oh, I'm going to lock in my place. Like, we're all going to die. So I understand that you might, if you want to lock inside for 20 years, no one cares. You could stay in your house forever, but you can't make everyone else live inside, because we're all going to die. But now that we can't live anymore. We can't go to a soccer game. It's not full capacity. It's like, that's not living. They're taking our life away. They're ruining our life. So it's the same dynamic, left wing to right wing. The left wing wants to take away your life by making you stay inside. A lot of people on the right, I feel like, are afraid to do. And that's, to me, that's like the Christian decline of the nation, where there's still a lot of Christians, but, I don't know. I do think people are scared to take a certain step, and I understand why. But at this rate, like, I would guess Christianity in America is maybe on the rise again, thanks to the whole Trump revolution sort of thing. But it's probably weaker than it was 30 years ago, where either people identify it and figure out a way to revive it, or you just, it's like you just come to terms with your downfall. But what I see is a lot of people that are not coming to terms with their downfall because they don't want to believe it's happening, yet they don't want to take the steps to revive it. Where that's the part that weirds me out. I'm not a doomer. We're all done, but I'm identifying what's not happening. It's like, well, this is what has to change. They're like, no. Trump's got it. Don't talk about that. It's like, so you don't want to admit that the downfall is happening, but you also don't want to take steps to reverse it. It's weird. Someone said change the subject. All right, we'll do it for you. Maria Diaz, she wants to change the subject. You get your way. We got almost 2,000 people here total, and we do have 2,000 people here total. But Maria, you get your wish, because I'm done talking about it anyway. All right, let me read some things on Facebook. Edric said, "Thank you for being this brave." Laura said, "Keep up the good work." Ashley, Elk, Jody, appreciate y'all. Someone said level-headedness has gone out the window. I really do think, and I don't repeat it all the time just to be annoying. Like, I'm starting to see, I'm like, I really think idol worship is screwing with our country. The left doesn't believe, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them don't have a godlike figure. So they look up to government and Fauci like they're God. The God isn't real. I believe in Neil deGrasse Tyson and the universe and Dr. Fauci. It's like, well, just like a pastor could lie to you, so could a scientist, or so could a government agent, especially one who, works for the NIH, who has joint patent of Moderna. But anyway, it's like, so they're like, they're idolizing figures because they don't even have a God. On the right, they do have a God, but I feel like people have replaced their God with Trump, where the old, there's more Christian conspiracy theories, or Christian theories. I don't want to smear people. There's more Christian theories about Trump returning to save America than there is Jesus Christ. I mean, that's how you know that it's become a religion. How many Christians do you hear talking about Jesus as much as they talk about Trump returning to save the country? Trump's coming back. Trump's not coming back from the audits. I would guess tens of millions of Trump supporters think Trump's going to return from the audits. Guys, this is a pipe. This is I'm not trying to be mean. And I know I always say that, it's getting annoying, but it's as stupid as thinking that Mike Pence is going to overturn the election on the 6th, which was the event that got everybody set up 5 months ago. Do you not remember that? Everybody thought you want Trump to be president. I get it. You wanted him to be president. You think he got cheated. I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. My problem is, because you can't cope with what happened, the audits are fine. thinking he got cheated, in my opinion, is fine. But thinking that Mike Pence is going to overturn the election because you love Trump so much that you can't fathom he's not going to be there, it's kind of a culty, weirdo move. And I said that before the Capitol event. If you go to now, how many of these same Trump supporters who got fooled on January 6th into thinking Mike Pence could overturn the election or was going to are now believing Mike Lindell and people like that, telling them that Trump might be back in office with the audits? I keep hearing this from Trump people. He might be back after the audit. He's not going to be back. You want him to be back. I get it. People love him so much they wish he was back. But if you're willing to lie to yourself and think that the audits are going to put him back in the White House, you think Biden's administration, Blinken, Psaki, you think they're all just going to pack up and leave the White House? Or what are you going to do? Another sixth event? Do people not hear what I'm saying? They're manifesting a new sixth event for you to attend and for you to think is going to happen. So you set yourself up again and get arrested by the FBI. You're self-fulfilling your own demise. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, no, Anomaly, you don't understand. We need a revolution, Mike Pence. Okay, then you're going to go to the Capitol, get set up, get arrested, ruin your whole life. And now what? Did you learn your lesson? Someone said you're repeating too much. Kenny, hear what I'm saying, because this might be the most important thing in my live stream. I hear some of the rhetoric that people are saying, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Trump supporters are not terrorists. Trump supporters have legitimate and valid concerns. But if you keep believing people who are telling you Trump's going to be back in office, you're going to do some stupid shit again like the Capitol event, and you're going to get set up again. You're going to get everybody in trouble, and you're going to ruin your life, and then you're going to ruin the life of anybody who's even remotely associated with you because they're trying to set you up. People haven't learned a damn thing from January 6th. Was it fair what happened? No. Was everybody involved in it? No. Did most people? No. But did you learn anything about, the art of war and 5D chess? 5D chess was you guys got set up. You guys got screwed over. You guys attended an event you thought was going to be something else and it wasn't. And everybody involved in it got screwed. So now what are you going to do? Pretend that he's going to get back in office on the audit? He's going to come back and audit. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to rally the troops to another freaking event. That's going to be another setup. And people are going to go because they're like, we're taking our country back from China. You're not taking shit back from anybody, So there's a way to, get your politician back into power. But believing that Trump is going to secretly be back in office in August because you want him to be there because the audits, this is like a brainwashed cult. You're becoming what the other side wants you to be because they need you to be that way. Because if you don't act that way, they have nothing to point to. So if you act that way, they point to you, they get clicks, they get fundraising, and eventually they get some stupid event that they could frame out of context or take a few bad actors and then make it a whole thing for 2 years. They're setting you up again. And when it happens, remember that I said it first. All these, Anomaly, you're not a real patriot. Mike Lindell told me that Trump's going to be back from the audit. Yeah, just like he told you Trump was going to be in the White House on the 20th. I like Mike Lindell. He's a nice guy, but he lied to you. He lied to you, just like a pastor lies and says, I love Jesus, so Jesus is going to come back next year. I love Jesus too, but sorry, Jesus didn't come back in 1997 unless he came in a different form and I didn't see him. Sorry, the end of the world wasn't on March 15th, 2007. That pastor lied. Every pastor that's Christian doesn't tell the truth. I'm sorry, but it's like, how many pastors have lied about this? Now you have the religion of Trump, and the new pastors are Mike Lindell and General Flynn and Lynn Wood. And I like Lynn Wood because he wore my hat. Anybody who buys my hat's a friend of mine, but I don't know him. But it's like these people are getting aroused out of being like the new pastors. They're like, ugh, I have a dream that he's going to be back from the audits. And everyone's like, dude, it doesn't make sense. It only makes sense. It only makes sense because people want him to be there. I wanted Trump to be in office on January 20th, but I'm not a religious sycophant over the guy. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But what about Mike Pence? You think Pence can overturn the election? He's got to. He's not going to It's Mike Pence. He's the vice president. He's not going to save your life. Like, give me a break. This is like the new culture now, So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Get mad at me. Hate what I'm saying. Just like I said, the January 6th. Why was I one of the few people who actually liked Trump who didn't want to go? Because I don't trust a vaccine salesman. So if he's talking about vaccines, Moderna, election, Moderna, I'm over it. If he's got a Moderna event, Trump sponsored by, and it's not sponsored, but I'm like, I don't want to go to this event. And what happened at that event? You're not a real patriot. That's what they told me before. You're not a real patriot, Anomaly, if you don't come to January 6th. And it's like, okay, What happened to you? Oh, you got arrested by the FBI. Oh, that sucks. Oh, you went inside and got arrested. Oh, that sucks. Oh, you didn't go inside and you got arrested. That sucks. Oh, you didn't even go. You were just outside 50 feet away. That sucks. If only somebody said they weren't. It's like, not only did people not listen, which I don't care, because I was like, do what you want to do. They tried to guilt me into going. It's like, it's become like a death cult. Like, come get arrested with me. Come ruin our lives with me. It's like, how about no? Let's not, and say we did. So someone said this guy keeps getting better and better. I'm just letting people know I'm letting you know the game. And I'm not like this wizard. It's pretty obvious if you're not too dialed into it. Someone said, do I have a crystal ball? Some of these things are obvious. Like with the mandatory vaccination, everyone's like, Trump doesn't. They tried to do it 3 years ago. I don't have a crystal ball. They tried the mandatory vaccine in all these states. And then they were like, we're going to get it one way or another. And then it happened. With the Capitol event, I just don't trust a guy who's selling Moderna. No offense. It's not a crystal ball. I just didn't trust it. But in general, now what they're doing is obvious. They're trying to say, if you like Trump, if you're a conservative, if you work out, if you do this, if you like low taxes, if you're a libertarian, they're trying to relate you to a terrorist. So you have to understand, if you're playing 5D chess, listen to Tucker Carlson, okay? I don't know how valid it is, but I think when it's all said and done, I don't doubt what he's saying at all. So they're spying on, the main right-wing journalist on television, according to Tucker Carlson. So if you want to understand 5D chess, they're treating you like a terrorist. They think you are a terrorist. If you're 100 million patriots out there who vote conservative, they already hate you. They are, there's people out there that are trying to paint this picture that you're doing something horrible and terrible with domestic terrorism when you're really not. So are you going to realize that they're doing that and be smart about what you do? Or are you going to realize that they're doing that and be stupid about what you do and follow a bunch of people who tell you to go to these setup events? Oh, well, we need a revolution. We need to go over here because Trump's going to be the real. There's people, you get what I'm saying? Like, oh man, we're the real patriots. This is messed up. China's taking over. Mike Lindell told me he's going to be back. It's like, guys, you're going to get set up again. And you're almost like begging for it. It's like you act like you play 5D chess. You're playing four-dimensional, one-dimensional freaking Connect Four. Like, you're not even playing the same game as these people. Someone said, don't be a pawn, for sure. But it's like, I listen to people are listening to these Trump podcasts and stuff where they're like, oh man, the audits are going to save my life. I'm like, are you begging to get set up again by the FBI? Because it sounds like it to me. It sounds like I didn't learn anything from January 6th. I'm going to keep following the same liars who lied me right into that. And I'm going to listen to them and get all gung-ho. And then I'm going to become the person that they say I am. And I know these people aren't terrorists, and I know these people are nonviolent, but it's like, be smart. You get what I'm saying? I say peacefully all the time in my live stream. I don't say it to pander. I say it because, one, I am peaceful, but also you have to understand, I know I'm being scrutinized right now where they're trying to say I'm this, I'm that, I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm a right-wing this and that. So either I pretend like I don't see it and just keep freaking playing along, or I make sure people know what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I mean. This is the exact article I'm talking about. I'm talking about peacefully. I'm talking about respectful. Someone said I'm a pawn for the Democrats. Albert, why even come to my live stream, bro? You came the other day. It's an hour in. I explained myself. I'm trying to equip Trump supporters with the mindset that isn't going to get them arrested. I'm a Democrat because I don't want Trump supporters to get arrested by the FBI. I'm a Democrat because I'm against communism. Oh, yeah, listen to Albert. Oh, Albert Smith says, Anomaly, you're a pawn for the Democrats. How dare you say that? We're gonna take the White House back. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, keep going to those stupid freaking events, bro. You're going to set yourself up too. And anybody you hang out with, you idiot. No, we're the real patriots. Trump's going to be back in the White House because Mike Pence is going to get his. He's going to change the election for me. Yeah, Albert. Oh, yeah. You're fighting the Democrats. The only way to fight the Democrats is to get arrested by them. My gosh. It's so obvious. I mean, just stay away from me, okay? The next time you go to a setup event and your whole life gets ruined, just stay away from me and keep my name out of your mouth so I don't get a phone call again, okay? Someone said hating both parties makes him a pawn for the Dems. No longer. I don't hate both parties. That's not, I ripped up the thing as a joke, but this is not hate. I don't hate. I'm not a hater. I'm just letting you know, if Trump signs off on a bill that prints trillions of dollars, that's just what he did. You could say you liked it. You could say he didn't. I come from a place where I'm actually fiscally conservative, like conservatives pretend to be. So I don't agree with that. It doesn't mean I hate Trump. It just means that's what happened. It doesn't mean I hate Republicans. That's just what happened. I think the Republican Party is a socialist, communist train wreck that doesn't know how to reverse course. And I don't think most of them even care. I don't hate that. I'm not hating on them. That's just what it is. I'm not hating Trump or hating that. It's like, I'm just not a pawn. It doesn't come from a place of hate. It comes from a place of, this is just obvious. This is like basic stuff, guys. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Someone said, you don't want your bank to give you up as an attendee to Trump events. Listen, I don't care about being persecuted if I'm doing the right thing, okay? I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid to, I'm with Trump. I connected myself with Trump, and not in a way where I'm like, he's my best friend, but I supported certain things he was doing when it was even less popular, okay? Not because I thought it would do something, because I knew it was the right thing to do. When Trump becomes a socialist, communist, lockdown vaccine salesman after being a vaccine skeptic for 3 years, and all of a sudden he's now Bill Gates' favorite vaccine salesman, that's why I didn't want to go to the Capitol, among other reasons. I'm not an activist, okay? Anomaly, speak here, speak here. If it's an event that makes sense, it's fine, but I'm not trying to be anything, okay? I don't need anyone's attention. I get enough views. People know who I am when I go, wherever I go out. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I'm more famous than I ever need to be, okay? I could care less if people start hating me. But in general, I don't go to it. I'm not in a big event goer anyway, but I don't trust that event. It's not like I don't want to go here because I'm afraid a bank's going to close me down. I don't want to go to an event with a guy who just sold vaccines for Bill Gates where his supporters got set up by the FBI. That's not me being afraid to relate myself with someone I like. That's me distancing myself with a person who I rightfully don't trust, with events that I rightfully don't trust, in a climate that I understand what's going on. I'll just tell you the type of foresight I had years ago. Years ago, someone said, you sure have switched your support? You're not even listening to me. Years ago, people want to book me for events all the time. Most of the time, I just don't want to go. And certain times, I don't want to be on the flyer, okay? I've told people this before. I don't want to be on the flyer. I don't want my face promoted with all your other shit. Why did I do that? Before the Capitol, by the way, before any of this shit, because I know how this shit operates, guys. You think I don't pay attention? Like people just, I understand. I've thrown events. I understand that when you get to a certain point, things get realer. And when you're not saying what they want you to say, they're looking for a way to frame you out of context. So I've had this foresight with events. Keep me off the flyer. Maybe I'll show up. Maybe I'll speak, but it's not my thing, because if you put my name on a flyer next to 4 other Trump supporters who I don't even know who the hell they are, and they're out saying or doing stupid shit, now they're going to try to frame me with those people. I'm not afraid to be framed with those people if I like those people, but if I don't like those people, I don't want to go to an event. It's like you inviting me to a pool party with a bunch of people I don't want to be with. So I've always thought this way, even before the setup event, because I know how these sort of things operate. You just have to follow US history. Anytime there were movements and groups and stuff, there's going to be an effort to monitor them and shut them down. So either you're going to be smart and realize that that's happening and try to protect yourself, or you're going to be a dummy and show up to an event and get arrested and go in Nancy Pelosi's office and sit and rot in jail for the rest of your life. So I'm not dumb enough to want to go to jail, and I'm not dumb enough to follow a vaccine salesman, and I'm not dumb enough to go into the Capitol, So I'm trying to just let people know, like, I'm not paranoid, but I'm also not dumb. So I've thought this way for years. Don't put me on the flyer. Someone said, quit defending yourself. I have a talk show where I just sit and talk. I'm not defending myself. I'm trying to explain to people why I thought that way, why it makes sense, and why it's worth considering doing. I'm trying to help people. I'm not just defending myself. This is also a hint to other people. I've protected myself. I'm not going to name names, but in general, there was one event that somebody tried to book me for years ago. This is not me defending myself. I'm giving you a window into what I'm thinking and what's going on. So maybe you could listen and maybe, take into consideration. He wanted me to go to this event. I said no. I had a bad feeling about somebody on the panel. I'm not afraid to talk to them. I'm not afraid to debate them. I just didn't like being associated with them because the way it was being branded was like, here's the real men and we're all men together. And it was with somebody that I knew was doing some weirdo stuff. So I said, listen, I don't feel like going to this event. And they guilted me and they shamed me and they said this and that. And they tried to make it a public spectacle and start drama that I didn't want to start. And 4 or 5 years later, I'm not going to even say what, but this person was connected with like an Epstein level type person. Okay. With some weirdo stuff. And then this was a huge news story and everyone's like, oh my God. And then people are texting me, oh my God, Anomaly, you were right. And I'm like, I have good insight. I'm not a moron. But in general, if I don't want to go to an event, I don't want to go. And don't try to guilt me into doing it. So they tried to guilt me into that event to put myself on a flyer with somebody connected to Epstein with some crazy crap. And I don't want to start the drama, but my insight told me don't go to this event and don't plaster yourself on a billboard with, this guy. And I have nothing against him. I don't know the whole story. It could have been, but I just knew I don't have to go anywhere. If I don't want to eat with you at a diner, I don't have to eat with you at a diner. You have to go. I don't have to go anywhere. So I've already been successful in avoiding events that would have been a trap for me. And I've had my own events. I don't even want to talk about my personal, but I've hosted my own events where I paid for it, where I booked it. And I learned very quickly when you get to a certain level, things get a lot realer if you're just a hip hop artist that no one gives a shit about. When you're one of the biggest personalities on one of the biggest social medias in human history, it's a different game you're playing in. Okay. So I'm not that smart with everything all the time, but I'm just saying I was successful at not going to an event for reasons that only I understood, that no one understood. And it ended up being a very smart decision. And same with the Capitol. Multiple people just on Twitter, I'm not saying even privately, just like publicly, like, you're not a patriot. You're not a patriot. Okay, what happened to them? People are still in hiding because they're not out. So it's like I've been guilted multiple times to not go to events that I felt were a setup. And I'm 2 for 2. They were both setups, one way or another, So it's like I don't give in to peer pressure. I've been told I'm not a patriot. I've been told I'm a soft, whatever. Okay, maybe I just have good foresight. Someone said you're a coward, said Ace. That's not a coward, bro. I don't know who you are, Ace, but you don't have to go eat lunch with anybody, right? If someone says, hey, you want to go eat lunch? Do you have to go and eat and hang out with everybody that wants to hang out with you all the time? Of course not. You have friends, you have best friends, you have family members, and then you have people that there's a certain place and a time when you would want to do something and not. It doesn't make me a coward. My life is not up for bidding. I got booked by somebody that I do like for a rap show in Florida, and they were going to pay me, and I declined it. I wasn't afraid of anybody there. I just didn't want to go. I don't feel like flying to Florida right now, and it's not worth the money, in my opinion. I'm not that desperate for money. I'm grateful enough to I don't have to scrap the bottom of the barrel for money. So it's nothing to do with that guy. He's a great guy. It was really just I didn't want to go to Florida. You get what I'm saying? I'm not a coward. I like the guy who ran the show. I trust him, and I would love to do another event with him. I just don't have to go everywhere all the time, just like you don't. So it's not like everybody who books me, I have to go. I've done business and this is not me defending myself. I'm giving you an insight for anybody, someone who's younger, older. I've dealt with the music industry for 10 plus years. I had a deal on a major label type deal, a major distributor deal when I was 19 and I was too broke to afford a lawyer. I read the whole contract myself. So I've been reading contracts. I've been funneling through stupid events for 12 years. I'm not just this wannabe freaking political guy who just goes to every event because I'm desperate for attention. I don't need attention. Everywhere I go, I get recognized. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, like, I'm not desperate for people to care who I am. People know who I am for the most part. So in general, there's events that people invite you to that just aren't right. It doesn't make you a coward. Do you know how many Trump events I've got invited to that never even happened because they didn't have good management? Guys, I have good vision for this stuff because I've dealt with this stuff for 15 years. And I could tell based on how they're talking, I don't just say, yeah, put me on the flyer. I'm like, who's involved? Who's running it? Who's funding it? These are the questions I asked. And if they don't know, I told my friend, this event's not going to happen. What do you mean? Are you a hater? I'm like, no, they're not pulling this event off. They don't have the money. They don't know what they're doing. Dude, no, we're going to go 2 months later. Dude, the event never happened. It fell through. Yeah, I know it fell through, and I knew it was going to fall through. I don't wish for harm on people, but it's like I've worked in business and music, and I've never had a manager for the most part, maybe once for a small amount of time. So I've done all my own management. I've done all my own booking. I've done all my own contracts. I don't have a lawyer. I do my own stuff, all of it. Most people can't do that. They need a lawyer. I don't need one. I take the time to read this stuff. So I'm not defending myself. I'm just trying to let you know when I do this, it's not from a position of fear. It's from a position of experience of everything's not for me all the time. And I'm telling you, there's certain people that want to be everywhere all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to be everywhere all the time. I do big shows in front of 5,000-10,000 people pretty much whenever I want when it's no pandemic. I don't need to bust ass to go to an event. Like I'll show up for free and not be paid a dime and go to an event with 100 people if I want to. But I'm not this person that I'm not trying to tour the country and like have people recognize me. For the most part, I just want to be left alone. I'm not desperate for like an event. It's not cowardice. It's business. Michael Adele said, we call it a warning from the Holy Spirit. Keep listening. You will be fine. Appreciate it. Thoughts on Tim Pool? I don't know much what he's doing now, but I mean, honestly, I think he's doing a lot of good work. I don't listen to him. I haven't heard him in months, but from his guests he's had on and his takes, I feel like he's really becoming, like I used to clown on him a year ago, jokingly. I think he's really coming into himself. So shout out to Tim. I don't know much of what he's saying, but following his Twitter, I think he's doing really well. So I wish him the best. So I'm going to read this real quick. Joyce said, according to the Constitution and laws written around it, Pence did the only thing he could do. Trump cannot be reinstated, even if there is voter fraud. I mean, I know what you just said is going to be controversial, and I don't want to spend that much time on it, but I agree completely. If anybody thinks that Pence could overturn the election, one, you're setting up the next person to do it, which is Kamala Harris, and two, Trump lied to you. Honestly, he fell short, and he didn't want to admit he fell short, so he blamed his vice president. And then he got all his supporters set up at the Capitol, and he doesn't care. That's kind of like, that's your vice president, and you're going to set your vice president up. You fall short because the lawsuits didn't go through, and you blame your vice president. That's not somebody I want to go to their event. But people will swear that Pence could have saved their life. It's like, yeah, that's how you win an election on January 6th with Mike Pence. Yeah, it's sad because MAGA and the Trump movement, there was so much truth and there was so much there's so much potential. There still is. It's still there. There's still all these people, but people have, in my opinion, gotten brainwashed by Trump, where they're like, the worst thing that happened in the last year was Mike Pence. It's like, what about the lockdowns? What about the medicine? Like, oh no, Pence was it's like Trump has brainwashed these people and they can't even function anymore. It's like, someone said Pence still sucks. I mean, he's a career politician. I'm just saying he can't overturn the election. That's Trump lying because he fell short and throwing his vice president under the bus. I'm sorry, but it never made sense. I got to go in like 5 minutes. I have to record a podcast with somebody. Someone said, where did Trump order a lockdown? Do we have to do this every time I go live? Are other people sick of it? Trump was the head of 15 days to slow the spread. He's the president. So he declared a national emergency, but he's also the leader of the Republican Party. You have to understand the Republicans can't do anything without Trump. I mean, they're dead in the water if they don't support Trump. He's got them all by the balls. He ordered them to lock down. He ordered them to extend the lockdown. If you think if Trump would have said, hey, let's open up now, pretty much every Republican would have listened to him. He's the leader of the party. So it's like, do you really want to spend the next 2 years making excuses for a lockdown? It's so pathetic. It's like, I'm so tired of these. If you could support Trump without being this bad, it's like, hey, Anomaly, I know there's bigger issues, but like, let's just make excuses for lockdowns for 3 years. Like, you don't deserve to be free then. This is why people are not going to ever be free again. Someone said Pence sold out by not doing his job. He did his job as a career politician, but the worst thing he did was the coronavirus task force. The worst thing he did was be Trump's and Fauci's right-hand man during all this bull Operation Warp Speed trash. But nobody cares about that because Trump brainwashed them to think he could overturn the election. Let's not talk about it 50,000 times for the next 2 years. If you think that Trump had no part in the lockdown, go follow another liar or a salesman who's going to tell you he's going to come back. It's not true. He had a massive part in the lockdown. But if you got to lie to yourself, just stop. It's been 2 years of nonstop delusion and brainwash. Like, just stop. So annoying. Someone said Klaus Schwab raved about Trump's idea that hopium is important. I didn't see that, but I got to check that out. I don't know where a link is. Someone said every single live stream. I know I'm tired of it. And I know a lot of people here are tired of it because if it's this new idea that we've never talked about before, it's fine. I don't like to censor people. That's why I read questions. Guys, anybody who's followed me since April, Anomaly, you switched up after Trump lost. You've only missed the 100 live streams and 100 videos I made for it's like we don't want to talk about this. Let's move on. Someone said he left it up to the governors. Eric, what I'm saying is, when he's the leader of the Republican Party, he runs the show. If he says jump, they say how high. If he says close, they say how high. Trump has the power to lead. He's a leader. So he leads them either to stay open. Hey, we're the Republican Party. We're going to stay open because it's good for our economy. Do you know what would have happened if Trump would have done that? Most Republicans would have listened to him. Why? Because he's the leader. He's the coach. He's the point guard. So when he said lockdown, they all locked down. When he said extend the lockdown past Easter, they all extended the lockdown past Easter. The first one to open was Georgia, and Trump said that's not a good idea. His leadership sucked. His leadership led to lockdown. His pen led to the CARES Act. His emergency pen led to all of this tyranny. His Operation Warp Speed led to what you're dealing with now. He had part of it either pen-wise, legislative-wise, or leadership-wise every step of the way. If you want to pretend like Trump had no part in the lockdowns, he brainwashed you. You're not a patriot. You don't believe in freedom. You are a communist sympathizer, excuse man, because you love a guy more than you love your own family and your own country. Just stop already. He had a part in every step of the way. And if it wasn't with his pen directly, it was with his leadership. What's the point of having a leader that leads you the wrong way? Well, I don't know. I never thought about it that way. I just like to make excuses for him. Just stop. The least you can do is stay out of my way when I'm not making excuses. Everybody makes excuses. What are we? The United States of excuses. We got 50 excuses, 100 different ways to make excuses for this stuff. I'm not making excuses. I'm out of excuses. It's like if the Republican Party is a team and you lose the game, you lost the game, okay? You lost the game last year. You lost the country. You lost our freedom. You lost, okay? So now you either identify that you lost it and say, hey, we lost the game. Let's win. That's what I want to do. I want to win. Sorry, I'm not a loser. I'm not a communist crybaby. I want to win. Okay. How do we win? You can't win if you don't even accept that you lost. And this is Trump supporters. Well, I want to make excuses for communism. Then you can keep losing, but stay out of my way because I'm not a loser. I'm not losing. You get what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you want to sit and make excuses all the time. A winning team doesn't make excuses. A winning team doesn't become a PR team. It's like, well, his advisors were banning. He couldn't. Okay, then go join a reading group where you guys sit around and make excuses for Trump and stay out of my way. Like there's other, can you join a Facebook group called the Trump Excuse Making Reading Group Tuesday? And you could read a bunch of GOP like novels every week. And you could talk about all the reasons he fell short. Well, Trump had no part in the lockdowns. I mean, it was Jared Kushner. It was his advisors. I mean, yeah, he didn't drain the swamp, but he really tried. I mean, yeah, communism came, but he didn't know. I mean, he signed the CARES Act, but that's socialism. But I mean, he had to do it. It's like, yeah, join a reading group, a Trump excuse reading group. You could read Steve Bannon's book, Milo Yiannopoulos' book. It could be like a half reading group, half Trump excuse make group. That's not what we do here. I'm not it's like, it's wild. Like people don't want to do anything. I get it. Just stay out of my way because I'm not that type of person, okay? Someone said I went from 1.2K listeners to 715. Well, that's not crazy on Facebook. So as I go on Facebook, the viewers always go down. That's not like, even if it's a compelling speech about things that everyone loves, that's just how it goes. On YouTube, the numbers usually trickle up. On Facebook, they trickle down. But here's another thing. I don't care how popular it is. I just did a video yesterday. It's got 250,000 views. This one, it's not going to have as much. It's fine. But even if it wasn't going to be popular, I'm not going to pander. And I appreciate that you said that. One, that's not why my followers went down, but also you don't understand how many people in the Trump world agree with everything that I'm saying on the influencer side. They just don't want to tell you because they're afraid of their numbers going down. My numbers aren't going down, but even if they were, I don't care. But I make a good enough argument. I do good enough work where they go up. Anyway, I've lost followers on Facebook. I don't care. And a lot of the Trump influencers on Fox and stuff, it's not even that they mean to do what they're doing. A lot of them, they've never been challenged because they only talk to liberals. Oh, we're fighting the liberals. You are a liberal. In my opinion, Anomaly's a Democrat. You guys are Democrats. If you don't think it's crazy that Trump and McConnell printed trillions of dollars, you're a socialist. I mean, that's what Venezuela does. They printed money and their currency didn't work anymore. Trump printed money, Biden printed money, and now our currency is devaluing a little bit. I'm not a Democrat. You are. I believe in actual conservative values. If you don't even, if socialism and but Anomaly, Trump had no part in the lockdowns. I mean, he was just the leader of the country. He just didn't, I mean, it was all the states. It's like, yeah, okay. Just keep telling yourself that. Start a reading group. You guys could read George Papadopoulos's book, about, the deep state, whatever, buy his book. Who else wrote a book? Just buy all their books. I'm not even being mean. Just, you could get a Dave Rubin book. I think Michael Knowles just dropped a book. I'm sure Shapiro's got some books. Just read some books and we could talk about what happened. But someone said the title of this rant is wrong. Jane, I don't care. I don't really care what you think. Go watch my video from yesterday, the Busta Rhymes video. 250,000 views on Facebook, 250,000 views on Instagram, 20, 30, 40,000 shares on Instagram. The thing's going super viral. What's in that video? Is it me complaining? No. Is it me being a Democrat? No. It's me being a conservative libertarian patriot explaining the things that nobody in the GOP wants to explain. So you can get mad at me all you want. Ask yourself why no one else in the GOP, no other conservative commentator can cover the topic of that I've covered. How come? Because they don't care. Because they're too busy making excuses for Trump. Because they live in a world where they're building a wall or they're fighting the audit. And they don't even think about the biggest issue in the world, which is taking all their freedom away. So get mad at me all you want. It's not affecting it's not going to affect me. I'm still going to show up to work because I live there and I can't not show up. When I wake up, I'm at work. And I'm still going to make great videos. So, Peter, I'll be there in a minute. I will be joining Peter. I have to do a podcast with Peter. So I'm looking at the clock, 1:58. I got to go now. All right. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I got to shoot a podcast. I got to go to rehab for my thumb. And then someone said the Busta Rhymes video is good. Thank you, Patrick. That's what it is. Real quick, t.me/DreamRareChat. I have DreamRareChat. Someone says 683. Bro, I don't care how many people are following me. It's you guys cry about this stuff. It's like, I don't care. 600 people on a live stream. Wow. Oh, well. Cry me a river. Go watch my other video. Yeah, t.me/DreamRareChat. The hats are at godblesshats.com or dreamrare.com. You buy 2, you get a free sticker. You buy 3, you get 2. But that's all just bonus. And Patreon, thank you guys, everybody on patreon.com/raretalk. I answer all messages and I've been answering all messages. So that's the best and really only place to reach me. You could support, but it's a cool perk. I can actually have discussions with people on Patreon and it's a cool filter because I can't answer all the. Someone said, I'm out. All right, see you guys. Someone said, Trump took away no freedoms. No, that's just a lie. I'm sorry, but that's just a lie. It's like you guys will defend. You'll be in a gulag and be like, this, I'm not really here. It's not, Trump didn't put me. I was like, just give it up. Okay, just stop. If you're so mad at what I'm saying, there's a button at the top. Anomaly doesn't have 1.5 million followers. I don't care. Click the unfollow button. This is why I don't. Anomaly is a coward for not going to events. I don't need any more attention. Click the unfollow button. I don't care if 10,000 people click the unfollow button. I had 1.5 million followers. Now I have 1.4. I lost 50,000 followers. Do you see me care? I never even celebrate about followers. I don't care. It's fine. All right, have a good one, guys. I got to do this podcast. I'm running late. All right, talk to you guys soon. Peter, I'll be there in like under 2 minutes. Sorry about that.